Okay, so yeah, I need to get a video out this week, and I really intended for this week's video to be the Jaguar XKE, the 1/8 scale model that I'm working on. However, I put that on temporary hold just for a week or two because I got a new toy. I got a new TIG. Now, I've never TIG welded before. I've done lots of welding in the past. My dad taught me how to stick weld when I was 8th grade. So by the time I got into high school metal shop, I was already fairly okay at stick welding. And in high school, I did more stick welding and MIG, mostly MIG. And then when I got into college, I did quite a bit more MIG and more stick. And in college, I learned how to gas weld, oxyacetylene gas weld, but never TIG. But I went ahead and bought a TIG. I've been wanting one for as long as I can remember. And you know, since college, I've done very, very, very minimal welding. In fact, I didn't do any welding until I got a cheap wire feed welder from Lowe's, probably, I don't know, 5 years ago. And I only bought that because I had to do some repair work on a hand drilling that was going up to the house. And again, it was one of those cheap $100, $110 flux core wire welders that does okay up to 1/4 inch. Anything more than 1/4 inch just isn't really good at all. And again, I haven't really used it that much. But there's been projects in the past that I really wanted to be able to weld aluminum or stainless that I just couldn't do. And I have projects in mind that will require aluminum or stainless welding, again, that I couldn't do unless I had a TIG welder. So I went ahead and bought myself a TIG welder. Now, I did a lot of research online. I watched a lot of videos. I read all of the critiques. I was looking for something in the $1,000 price range. Low duty, hobby use, hobby grade, because again, I'm not going to be using this very often, you know, maybe just for a few projects here or there. So I could not justify spending a whole lot of money on a TIG welder. So looking in the $1,000 price range, I had it narrowed down to 4 different welders, 3 or 4. One of them, the cheapest one, was I think $725. The most expensive one was I think $1,200. So I was looking between $725 to $1,200, and they had to be able to do aluminum. Harbor Freight had one for fairly cheap, but it couldn't do aluminum. It was a DC machine only. Unless you bought the spool gun to go with it. I didn't want to go the whole spool gun thing because that was another couple $100 just for that setup. So anyways, I went with the welder that got the best reviews, the best comments, and that is the manual for it. It is the PrimeWeld. I think it's the PrimeWeld 250. We can see here's the model, TIG 225 AC/DC. So the PrimeWeld, which came with a CK flex head, and it came with a little button on the side here. Well, that's zip tied in place, and a foot pedal. And again, this one got all of the best reviews, best comments, best critiques. Not only that, but look right here. 7 days a week, free help, and a 3-year warranty. And that warranty includes shipping there and back. One of the ones that I was looking at, and I forget which one it was, but one of the comments was that you know, it didn't work out of the box, and they had to pay shipping to. I mean, it was under warranty. They sent it out to get it fixed and sent it and got it sent back, but they had to pay for shipping both ways. Not with this one. Shipping is covered under the warranty, which was awesome. Now, I've only used it once because, of course, you know, when I got it out of the box, I went to my local weld shop and got an argon bottle. So I was very excited to try this out. So, of course, I just dove right in and I tried aluminum, because that's the main reason I wanted it, was for aluminum or stainless. So I got a couple pieces of scrap aluminum and I went right after it. And I tell you what, man, yeah, check that out. I learned a couple of things from doing this. I obviously learned that I don't know how to TIG weld. and which is normal because, again, this is my first weld ever. It's just a piece of angle on a piece of plate. Perfect penetration, though. So I learned a few things. Again, like I said, I don't know what I'm doing, and I need a ton of practice. Also, I had the amperage set way too high. And the other thing I learned is that I need a cart. I did this kind of basically squatting on the, that sounded weird, kind of kneeling on the floor of my garage. So I just did this, in an awkward position on the floor of the garage. So I need a cart. So I spent the past week making a cart. That's what I'm filming on right now. I've got a nice, metal work surface here. I didn't record building the cart because I wasn't planning on doing a video of building the cart because I didn't know how it was going to turn out and I didn't know if it was going to work. So I just was kind of making it up as I went along. Plus, I'm not a professional metal fabricator, so I'm probably not the best person to teach you how to make something like this. But it came out so good enough that I decided to do a video to show you what I've been doing over the past few days since I didn't get a video out on the Jaguar. So I'm proud of this cart, just like I'm actually proud of that weld. I mean, yeah, it looks like garbage, but it's my first weld, and I did it, so I'm proud of it. It's like if you had an ugly baby, you'd look at it and be like, ugh. But at the same time, you're like, I made that. I'm proud of it. And again, it looks bad, but it's strong. I mean, it's on there. It's not going to fail. If somebody's life depended on this not failing, nobody's going to die today. So in one regards, I'm saving lives, I guess. But it's a start. It's a start, and I think it's a good start. I had the amperage way too high. I just need to practice more. Again, I haven't even done any more than this. I made this cart with my old cheap wire feed welder just because I know how to use that welder. I don't know how to use this yet. So let me just go around the cart. Again, it's just hopefully maybe give you guys some ideas. If some of you are looking into building your own cart, then maybe you can copy this one if you like it. If not, that's fine. It works perfectly well for me. So I like it, so I want to show it off. Keep in mind when I was going to say when I designed it, but I kind of just made it up as I went along. It just had to meet a couple of requirements. It had to hold both of my welders, and it had to have a nice work surface on the top, and it had to have at least one drawer for holding stuff. So keep that in mind as we go around this thing, and I'll show you its features. Oh, am I allowed to say that? Sorry, George. Okay, so let's start with the front of the cart. So here's a better view. The top is 1/4 inch steel, and down the front you can see I have the two welders there. So I've got the little cheap wire feed welder, and I've got the PrimeWeld setting right there next to it. And one of the requirements was it had to hold both welders, and obviously it does. Now this is 2 foot by 2 foot by 3 foot. It's actually a little bit taller than 3 feet. Because that 3 feet does not include the casters, and I did put 4 casters all the way around it. Now the drawer here, pull this open, I have storage for some consumables, other tips, a few other little things in there, the manual for the welder. Obviously that'll get filled up more the more I weld. I might even add another drawer. Now this drawer actually came from, notice how perfect that drawer fits. That drawer actually came from a desk at my work, and I tell you, it was a perfect fit. I took the drawer after I got the cart welded together, and if that drawer was 1/8 of an inch wider, it just would not have fit. So how lucky was I? And boy, is that guy going to be mad tomorrow. Let me turn the cart around, and I'll show you a few other things on the other sides. Oh, and one other thing on the top. I drilled and tapped some 1/4 inch, it's a quarter 20 threads. Now these bolt spacings are for a bench grinder, and those two will hold a small little vise that I have holding it this way, or those two holding the vise that way, and I got one more here just to kind of hold down the my arbor press. so I can put a few tools on here. I'll probably drill and tap some other holes on the other corners for other stuff as well, but for now, that works fine. So let me spin this thing around. We'll look at the other side. So there's the other side. I just put a couple of hooks on there. I think that's probably 3/8 rod that I just bent and welded in place to hold all the cables and stuff. And I also put a PVC tube on the side to hold the various filler rods. I'm not sure if I'm real thrilled about how that looks right now. That might change later. But, and again, all 4 casters around the bottom, so this thing's really easy to spin around and maneuver. Let's take a look at the back. All right, so here's the back side, and you can see I put a little power strip on the side there. That way, like if I have to drag this out in the driveway to work on my car, I can just roll out one extension cord. So if I needed to plug in an angle grinder or a drill or the welders, I can plug into that. Now that power strip is rated for 15 amps, and which is fine because I'm not going to run any more than one tool at a time. I would like something a little heavier duty than that, but it'll work until I can find something else. The tank itself, I got a 60 cubic foot argon bottle, and to hold it in place, I just made a round hoop on the bottom, just to spin it off with some little standoff pieces here, just to raise that up a couple of inches. There's another one like that on the other side, plus it's tacked in here. And I got a piece of angle right here, and the bottle just pulls into that with the cargo strap right there, just to hold the bottle in place. And as you can see, I put some that cargo strap material in here just to cushion the bottle a little bit, and I glued some to the bottom of the cart there, again, just to give some cushion for the bottle to rest on. Now, I already said that the frame is 2 foot by 2 foot by 3 feet. The tubing I used is 1 1/4 inch. It's 1 1/4 inch, I think it's 1/16 wall. So it's, for this application, it's fairly heavy duty, good enough. The floor of this welder, I think, is, what was that, 16? Not 16 gauge. Maybe 11 gauge. I forget exactly. And it's just tacked every 3 or 4 inches or so. Just got a little tack here, a little tack. So I just got tacks on there all the way around. Also, on the bottom, running from this end to the forward end on the bottom, is a piece of angle iron that I just welded in place. That also helps support the floor a little bit, just so the floor doesn't sag or anything like that. If I was doing this over, I probably would have made that floor out of 1/16, just to make it a little bit stronger. But to be honest, that thin gauge is actually working very well. Because of the angle iron piece on the bottom, there's no sag or anything like that. So it's actually working out pretty nicely for me. And let's see if we can spin this thing. Ooh, don't look at that weld. Let's see if we can spin this thing around. And since it is on casters, it does spin around, and it's really easy to maneuver. It's a little bit heavy. And I'm getting snagged on something there. Here we go. It's a little heavy, but that's good. And there's the other side. And of course the wire feed welder. And again, 2 hooks on that side, just to hold the various stuff. All right, so again, the welds don't look that great. I know that, but they are strong. They will hold. I tested a few of them. Spin this thing back around again. I tested a few of the welds, and trust me, they're strong. They are way strong enough for that cart, for what that cart's going to be used for. And so if you feel like putting a comment on how my welds look like crap, that's your prerogative. But I already know it. You're not telling me anything I don't already know. And not all of them look like crap, only some of them. Ironically, the best looking welds on the cart are on the bottom that you can't even see. So that's just the way it goes, I guess. So anyways, if this gave you any ideas of maybe making one of these for yourself, then feel free and copy it. I don't care. If you have any comments, feel free to comment, unless it's about the welding or the welds. I don't care. You can say what you want about them. I don't care. Now, one other thing. I don't remember if I said this already or not, but I looked at Harbor Freight for a cart. Harbor Freight does sell a cart that welder will fit in. It'll hold the welder and the bottle, and that's about it. No work surface on top, no storage drawers. and that was $100. I built this whole thing for a little under $100, maybe right around $100. But and if I would have scrounged around more for scrap metal, I probably could have done it for less than that. So anyways, I'm going to end this one here because I don't want it to get too long. But the next video hopefully will be back on the Jaguar build. Since this thing is pretty much done, I can relax on this thing and get back to work on the Jaguar build. But yeah, let me know what you think. If it's good, if it's nice. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. And as always, thanks for watching.